Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Women of Community Banking podcast. I've got Marella with me today. Hi, Marella. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure, Marella. This is almost waiting for the week to get over. The Wednesday before we officially wind up this year. So that's today. Thank you for taking your time out to do this podcast with us with your busy schedule. We really appreciate it.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Quick introduction who Marella is. Marella is Chief Marketing Officer of State Department Federal Credit Union based in Nova, Northern Virginia. Spent almost 3 decades in marketing. Interesting background. Started working in the restaurant side of the house in restaurant business 30 years back and eventually moved to credit unions around 2 decades back. And since then, we have convinced her to not leave credit unions and do best for the community. And that's what she loves doing. Marilla, if you want to add something or remove something, feel free.
No, I think that's great.
Sounds good. So let's talk about your journey, right? So do you want to talk about your journey in brief?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, my career didn't begin in the financial services industry. It began in restaurants. From childhood, I was brought into the family restaurant business, which exposed me on what it means to serve people. So every day was about understanding needs, managing complex situation, and in a fast-paced environment where margins were tight and expectations were high. And so as I transitioned into the CU industry in 2007, I was drawn to the cooperative spirit and the people first mission. And as my role evolved from focusing on marketing communication and helping lead enterprise-wide transformation, that really demonstrated the alignment between how I started my career in people helping people in the serving people in the restaurant business to aligning teams in the credit union industry around a clear mission.
So there's a reason because of which you came to credit unions. I mean, what I understand right now is that you were very much attracted to people helping people because that's what you're doing in the restaurant business is serving customers, serving consumers, right? It's a services industry. So is there anything specifically, Marella, that drew you to credit unions and like not any other financial services organizations?
The mission, I mean, that's an easy answer for me. Credit unions exist to serve people.
Sure.
And that fundamentally changes how decisions are made. I was attracted to an organization that success wasn't just measured by growth, but the impact on how well we were serving and improving members and their financial lives. And I think over time, I've appreciated the balance between credit unions and the financial discipline piece, and then a human-centered service. You know, it's like it prompts innovation, modernization, and it allows us to compete while again staying grounded in our community and the long-term relationships that we've built with our members.
And that's quite a noble reason for joining the credit union industry. I think all of us were attracted to the mission to start with before we came here. That was very important. Let's talk about, again, no industry, no ecosystem is perfect. There are challenges that all of us navigate on a day-to-day basis. My question is around unique challenges, right? I mean, we want to talk about some unique challenges that you might have faced as a woman in financial services and how did you navigate through that?
Sure, no, that's a great question. Navigating environments where leadership styles and decision-making norms were historically shaped long before women were represented at a table, is a big shift. So early on, for me, it meant that having to work harder to establish credibility, especially when I was leading transformation initiatives or introducing new ideas around technology, marketing, change management. But I also experienced moments where collaboration and consensus building, which are traits often associated with strong people-focused leadership, were initially undervalued compared to more traditional directive approaches. But over time, I learned how to balance confidence with clarity, advocate for my ideas with data, and ensure my voice is heard without losing my authentic and empathetic leadership style.
Yeah. So that's a powerful way of navigating through it and sticking to what you want to, right? So that's great to hear. Now, obviously, I mean, I possibly ask this question very, I would say, on a regular basis, right? Talking about advices, because I'm a strong believer that even I personally, I try to share my experiences and advice so that the person in front of me does not have to go through that same pain if I've gone through the same pain once. Right? And that's the reason I want to put this question of advice every single time. Do you want to talk about any advice that you want to share or any piece of wisdom that you want to share with women in their early careers and who aspire to become leaders like you in community banking?
My advice is to be intentional early about learning, relationship, self-advocacy, especially raising your hand for opportunities, even if you don't feel 100% ready. Growth often comes from stretch roles, not being perfectly prepared. And for me, feeling uncomfortable is how I grow and how I develop. Another is to seek out mentors and sponsors, not just people who give advice, but people who will advocate for you when you're not in the room. And
that's the most important thing. Cool.
Yes, absolutely. We can't underestimate the power of our own perspective and our voice, our experiences, and our leadership. And that doesn't need to look like anyone else's to be effective. Finally, I think just being patient with yourself, because leadership takes a long time. It's a long game. Focus on building credibility, confidence, and consistency. And that's what actually builds trust, will then translate to the relationships you build and the influence that you have.
Yeah, that is very good advice. That's great. Let's move on to maybe talking about State Department of it. Know more of mission and vision. So if I want to ask a question across a bunch of credit unions, right? So my question is, obviously competing with other credit unions is a very wrong mindset because we don't do that. But still, there are other financial institutions with whom we quote unquote compete because again, we are running a shop out there, right? That's important. My question is across brand identity. What is that is so unique, and how do you define brand identity for State Department in such a crowded marketplace? Because where you are in North Virginia, there's no dearth of financial institution. I mean, all the big guns as well as the regional players, there's a huge influx of new fintechs coming in. It's not easy to get new members, grow in deposits. So what is such unique, and you don't talk about that a bit?
And you can't be everything to everyone, and
sure.
Defining and maintaining a strong brand identity starts with having absolute clarity on who you serve and why you exist. For us, it has to be rooted in a deep understanding of our members and our strategic target audience's lived experience, navigating finances and frequent life transitions, because we know that our members, specifically our target market, they live dynamic lives where they're moving around a lot. From there, it's important to focus on consistency and relevance. The brand must show up the same way across every touch point, whether it's digital, branch, contact center. All communications have to be consistent while still being flexible enough to meet members where they are and wherever they are in the world for us. So that means prioritizing the digital first access, ease of use, clear and empathetic language, and solutions that remove friction rather than add complexity, which some financial institutions seem to do. You have so many options and you don't know, you have decision paralysis because you can't decide on which direction to go. And so, and like you mentioned, in a crowded marketplace, differentiation comes from being authentic and building that trust. We don't, like I said, we don't try to be everything to everyone. And instead we lean on our niche, tell real member stories, and align our products, processes, and the way our staff treat our members with a promise that we make as a brand. And so when our employees understand the mission and see how their work supports it, then the brand becomes more powerful. It's something that we live by and not just something that we market on a regular basis.
Yep. So that's a very strong and powerful answer, right? Do you want to take a couple of examples, or if you want to talk about one specific marketing campaign or something that actually stood out and you're really proud about that? I mean, if you want to talk about one such examples, might be a good learning lessons for other SEC-based credit unions.
Sure. And although this happened at my previous credit union, I think it definitely helped shape me as a leader in marketing and branding. The thing that I'm most proud of is leading a comprehensive rebrand and renaming effort for my previous organization. And it wasn't just a a simple visual refresh. It was a strategic transformation that clarified who we are, who we serve, and how we show up in the market. And it required deep stakeholder engagement across various departments in the organization, leadership, employees, board, and truly understanding our members' needs. And the result was creating a brand that better reflected the organization's mission, supported the growth, and created consistency across digital, branch, and service experiences. So seeing that brand become adopted internally and embraced externally in the community was really rewarding, and it granted us some awards in our industry that we're really proud of.
Firstly, congratulations on that. Right?
Thank you.
That's great to hear. We would love to learn more about that and talk more about it.
Sure.
These are things that we are really proud about what we are doing in the ecosystem, and it's for people like you, who make us more prouder. So congratulations again. That's great.
Thank you. It was a team effort. So
absolutely. Congratulations to the entire team. Now moving on to again your career, right? Obviously, you've spent years you're at a C-level. It means, work life is a myth because you've got to work a lot, right? But still, you don't talk about work-life balance. Credit unions are meant for having a good work-life balance as well as being very attractive for members, because that's what we are. That's who we are.
People helping people. Exactly.
We are not the banks who report out numbers to the street, right? So we are different. We do not really care about quarterly results for sure. So let's talk about that, right? How do you maintain work-life balance, and what is your take on that?
So for me, it's about intention and boundaries. I'm very deliberate about prioritizing what truly requires my involvement and empowering my team to lead, which creates both strong performance and personal balance, allowing me to, when I'm at home, I'm focused on home and my family life. And when I'm at work, I'm focused on my team and our performance and our contributions to the organization.
Yeah, that's 100% fair enough. Maybe a last couple of questions in the interest of time. Right? Talking about data, because I love, and that's what I do for a living. So how do you use data and analytics for better decisioning in whatever you do, be it member experience to designing the next most appealing marketing campaign to doing hyper personalization? How do you use data at the credit union?
Everything revolves around data for us. Data analytics allows us to move from assumptions to insight. We use data to identify patterns across member journeys, onboarding, product adoption, digital usage, and most importantly, life events and the behaviors of our members. And those insights shape everything that we do, from campaign timing to messaging to channel selection and product education. The goal is to anticipate needs and meet members with the right message at the right moment. So, leveraging those opportunities through data to, I know it sounds kind of cliche, but like meet members where they are, but it is true, because if you don't act on that opportunity when the opportunity is right, then you're going to miss it. And, it takes a long time to find the right opportunity to engage with that member again.
Absolutely, right? So that's what I believe. Data is the future. Unless you have a structured data analytics roadmap, it's difficult to go and run any business, profit, not profit, doesn't matter, because that's what people expect now is, unless you know more about me than an average financial institution, why will I even come to you? Because that's what I'm expecting. I wake up in the morning, or rather, I expect personalization at a level of Netflix or a Spotify, right? Might be a random idea. Why can't credit unions do a year wrap? You can create a rap video for your member, right? And just
we've talked about that. Yes. You got to have the accurate data. And once you have the accurate data, that would be an amazing initiative.
Maybe that's a startup idea I just got right now. I can do a wrap for all credit unions across the country and just surprise your members at the end of the year. That's where your wrap is, and just to make them feel happy.
You can even use AI to do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly automated, right? Completely automated.
Yep.
We're not touching it, but yeah, we can do that. That's interesting. Great. Couple of last question, right? So now the role of CMO has changed a lot since you've taken up a role of a CMO, or you've been doing marketing, from billboards to, I would say, a different kind of media, right? What do I say? Performance marketing, billboards to performance marketing, it's a broad shift that has happened. How do you think is the role of a CMO evolving, changing for credit unions?
As we were just talking about, It's, we're becoming more data centric. So the role of the CMO is evolving from primarily a brand and communications leader to a growth, insight, and experience leader. With the data enables marketing to move beyond intuition and campaign execution to deeply really understanding member behavior, predicting needs, and shaping enterprise strategy. I think that a CMO must sit at the intersection of data, technology, and storytelling, and then translate analytics into insights that inform product development, member experience, channel strategy, and ultimately revenue growth. And so that means partnering closely with, IT, operations, retail, finance, risk to ensure that data is used responsibly, ethically, and effectively. And at the same time, the human element becomes more important. So the data tells us what's happening, but my role ensures that we don't lose sight of why it matters. So we got to balance the analytics with empathy, using data to create more relevant, trusted, and personalized experiences while protecting the brand integrity and building trust.
So this was so well-rounded interview about, covering some of your personal life, personal journey, as well as talking about your mission and vision. So Marella, this is great. Again, thank you for spending your time today with us and sharing your insights. They were really, really valuable, and I appreciate it. So thank you for this episode. We'll stay connected. Thank you again for what you do for the movement. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Happy holidays.